Hello everybody, we are back again. This time we are now on round 9 here in Hyperdrive. We arrive here at Canada and I had mixed feelings going into this race. On one hand, this is a track I always seem to have a great result at, but on the other hand, this is a track that is extremely pad disadvantaged. You know, a lot of quick left rights, which is always bad for pad players. I've talked about it previously, so like I usually say, I'm not going to rehash over something I've talked about in previous videos. But as you can see here in the loading screen, well, first you probably saw it was P9 in qualifying. Not great. I had the same issue again. I didn't really put together my best potential of a lap in qualifying, so that issue kind of happened in this race again. In my defense, you know, when pad at Canada, a very tough race to do so, but I felt great in qualifying, so not being able to put up a great lap in qualifying was frustrating. But then again, I maybe would have gained one or maybe two positions if I did do, you know, my best potential lap. So yeah, I knew I wasn't going to have front running pace here, but my advantage was going to be hopefully the same as usual, where I just keep things smart and consistent in the race, take advantage of the chaos around me, and as long as I don't have bad luck fall my way, move forward in the race. So, for the same reason as a bunch of other races, we'll be doing hards to mediums again here in this race at Canada. And yeah, you know, still coming in with an optimistic point of view here, but also having realistic expectations, knowing, you know, I'm not going to be the fastest guy on track, but hopefully we can still scrape together some great points and really start building some momentum back after the shitty finish we had at Azerbaijan getting crashed out. Skipping through the formation lap, I'm sure you people don't feel like watching that. Tires slightly on the cold side. The grid was very slow in the second half of the formation lap. So slow I had trouble keeping temperature in the tires. But as you can see, there's just some absolutely elite car parking onto the grid. Yeah, a lot of drivers all of a sudden. The attendance was good at the beginning of the season, shit in the middle part, and now we're back to great attendance then. So a very deep lobby with a lot of great drivers here. A lot of people starting with hards around us. You see we get a great start here. We're able to get on the inside of the Mercedes there in the front. I mean, on the outside of us, but not enough room to make a move happen. That's one bad thing about Canada, not a long run into the first corner off the grid. And we're going to play it smart here. I went in just a tiny bit too deep. I wanted to stay on the outside line, but yeah, went a tiny bit in too deep, respecting the space of the cars around me. Now I got another car on my inside, got to respect the space, and you know, just trying to keep my cool here early on. And you'll see a lot of people are extremely aggressive, not just in the beginning of this race, but throughout the entire race. And this is something I caught on to, so I thought to myself, like, all right, if people are being really aggressive throughout the entire race, more likely incidents are going to happen, which means I need to be more careful when racing around other cars. And two, I might also be able to get some free positions if I just avoid chaos myself. So that was in the back of my head, not just early on, but throughout the entire race. But I had a hard time settling into the rhythm in this race. You know, I felt really good in practice leading up to this race, you know, and I didn't have the best qualifying, and the Aston Martin just uses all the battery on the straight, so he's going to be able to get by us there. On this track, you can't replenish battery during race pace, so if you use it, it's gone. So that's why I was conservative using my battery here early on. But yeah, a little bit of contact there with the second Aston Martin, and again, you know, everyone's using their battery so much here at the beginning of the race, which is really going to handicap them a hell of a lot during a long green flag run, because like I said, your ERS will very slowly go down, even if you're not using overtake here in Canada. So for these people, I mean, I even used a quarter of my battery that lap. So these people using 50% or even more in the first lap, you know, that's just battery that they're never going to be able to get back unless if there's a safety car. So while early on it's kind of frustrating, I'm down in the P10, but the long game is still looking very good for us. Yeah, and like I said, I had trouble settling into the rhythm in this race, and I feel like through most of like the beginning of the race and, you know, even up through the half, like the first 2/3 of the race, I just feel like I just didn't drive that well. You know, you have those kind of days sometimes. You're not always going to be able to play to the exact same level, and as frustrating as it is, those days come. And yeah, early on I was not quite feeling great about how I was driving, but nonetheless my focus is always the long game, you know. Don't make any mistakes that ruin my entire race. And again, the Aston Martin is just so aggressive, but with the ERS usage, I had a great wall of champion chicane. I have a terrible corner there, riding the curb. If I would have just kept it on the pavement the whole time, I would have been able to hold the position. You can see already, he is already down to 10% ERS, and we've only done 2 laps. You know, crazy to think how much ERS they're using there. It's really frustrating to see because, you know, it's just not smart to use that much ERS early on. But, you know, he did it. He's biased right now, but I'm keeping calm and playing the long game. Like I said, I want to avoid penalties. And seeing how aggressive everyone is, I just really wanted to avoid incidents early on. So we'll see when we can settle into this race. P11 right now, really not good. But like I said, very long race here in Canada. Still 32 laps to go, and a lot will change throughout this race. You can be sure of that. The laps tick on here early on. We're now at the end of lap 5, starting now lap 6. Nothing much has changed. I've used a little bit of my ERS, but not too much. The leading Aston Martin there goes wide. It makes us compromise our line, holding us up a little bit. So I'm hoping now, all right, so if people can start making mistakes and running out of ERS, maybe I can start getting some of these positions back. And right there, we get it. Frustratingly enough, we get our first warning. And yeah, like I just said, penalties are definitely something I want to avoid. You can see that it's really tightening up here, the field. And we have a spin there. Alpine goes around. 1 free position for us. You know, seeing how tight this field is here, I know a lot's going to change. You know, maybe someone's holding up the field. Maybe someone has damage. Who knows? But nonetheless, a safety car now comes out. And that's kind of frustrating to see because I still have 60% of battery, and the cars ahead of me have basically no battery. So just advantage them. They don't get punished for their bad ERS usage early on. And like I said, it is what it is. Safety cars are bound to happen, especially on not just a track like this, but I don't think it's a game issue or a track issue. Just people are just way too overly aggressive. People do not focus on the long game at all, you know. I mean, you've seen it. Even when we don't have the best pace, we're consistently getting top 5 finishes just solely off of keeping clean and running our own race and playing the long game. So hopefully we can have the same thing happen here. Another car pits ahead of us, so that is now P9, but yeah, not the best start early on, but we should be able to get a lot of these positions back as the race goes on. A few laps pass under the safety car. We are now on lap 9, so we'll be starting lap 10 when we go green. The field has already launched, so we get not a great run here coming up to the line, but luckily we don't have a car trying to overtake us immediately behind. So, you know, we ideally want to be right behind the car in front coming out of the safety car restart. And again, you can see me running too far on the inside in that corner. Just not driving the best right now early on the race. But yeah, clean air early on in a race is not something I can really be complaining about. We're back into the position we started. And overall in the race, I was hoping to, you know, do what I always do, gain a couple positions on track in the race. I knew I was capable of at least a position or 2 in terms of my raw pace if I played to the best of my potential. But yeah, early on here, not playing to the best of my potential, other people being super aggressive around me. But hey, like I always say, just keep calm, race your race. Things are going to happen around you. The race is very long, incidents will happen, you will have your chance to gain positions throughout the race. And here, the Red Bull, he's on medium tires behind us, so no use fighting that. He's on fresh mediums. He's going to be able to overtake us. Game recommends a strategy change. So be it. Yeah, hopefully this Red Bull can quickly make overtakes ahead and allow us to hopefully kind of follow them through. Or maybe, hell, maybe it will cause some incidents and we'll get more free positions that race. You know, we've seen a lot of that so far this season, and I'm sure we've seen far from the last of it, especially with the attendance being really good here recently here again. We advance a little bit further ahead now, lap 13. Nothing really has changed. The Red Bull is now pulling right up to the Aston Martins. And frustratingly enough, another safety car comes out. And we are definitely at the point of the race where if anyone decides to start on mediums, they can take hards all the way to the end. So if this is the last safety car, this pretty much broke the race for the hard runners and made it for the people that started on mediums. So yeah, it's frustrating that not only has 2 safety cars come out in the first third of this race, But we've done so little green flag running, you know, and that's what we really want. We want it to be a long green flag run, but, you know, so be it. Safety car's out. Still a long race. Still a lot can change. So the safety car will be coming in this lap. I did decide to switch to the medium tire. By my numbers of what I did in practice, I think that I am barely within the window of being able to take mediums to the end. So if there isn't another safety car, then hopefully we'll be able to do so. The game just doesn't let me accelerate there for some reason, but you know, at least the field has not launched, so I have time to catch back up to the meat of the field. And yeah, hopefully I can get a better launch than I did last time. So we're back down into P15 because we pit under the safety car. But hey, at least now we are in a position to go to the end. But yeah, our tires will be very worn by the end of the race. So not an optimal setup going on right now. But hey, it could be a lot worse. And like you've heard me say 50 times already, still a long race and still a lot's going to change. If people are driving this aggressively, that multiple incidents have happened already. And people are just burning ERS like a mother. There's still going to be a lot of free positions for us to gain. Just got to not give up and just always keep with it. Still a lot to happen here. And I still feel like I do have some pace that I haven't been able to flex yet because I just have been playing poorly. So hopefully I can get myself warmed up in this race and really doing what we're capable of doing. That's what we've been doing all year long, and that's moving forward in the races. At the end of a lap, a car had to pit for wing damage, so we gain a position up to P14. You see the Ferrari up ahead go deep, and it's kind of like what happened with the one Aston Martin before the first safety car. Kind of makes an effect where it brings us together. The Red Bull is able to get around him. And yeah, I think this car had damage. I can tell he's being very not fast. So yeah, hopefully this will be another, basically a free position for us. Get up to P13 and keep ourselves quickly moving forward here after the safety car. Still doesn't seem to have so much damage that his pace is super bad. But yeah, you can definitely tell that we have a lot more pace than right now. And we want to get around him sooner rather than later because he is just going to hold us up. We're going to hang it here around the outside, keep our momentum up. Because we have more speed coming out of the corner, it's easier for us to get to the throttle. He makes a little bit of a mistake spinning the tires, getting to the throttle. And yeah, we are up into P13 now with a little bit of clean air ahead of us. So hopefully we can catch up to the cars ahead and yeah, continue moving forward in this race. Not much has changed now, heading to lap 20. We had one more car ahead pit for, I don't know if it was for damage or because he had not pit yet off of his hard tires. But yeah, now we are up into P12 nonetheless. Still, we can go the rest of the race without making a pit stop. You can see how bunched together the field is getting. You got different drivers on different tires, different pace, different ERS usage, and people battling very much as well. I checked the weather report because it did say there's a chance of rain right at the end of the race, but throughout the whole race, the engineer just says, nah, nothing doing, mate, ain't gonna be no rain today, which is, you know, I always say sad for me because I'm a lot stronger of a wet driver than I am a dry driver, so it's advantage us anytime that there is water on the track. We get another free position there because a car had damage, and yeah, the trend continues. Getting free positions just by staying in the race, staying consistent, racing your own race. That's just a lesson that I can't emphasize enough in the world of league racing. And again, the Aston Martin, I don't know if it was because of an incident or a mistake, finds himself facing the wrong way there and back into the points when I know that there are still cars ahead, excuse me, that have not made pit stops yet. So we are still looking good to finish better than we qualified, which was always my goal. And my goal, honestly, I always want to aim for a podium in these races, but in a race like this, realistically, where the pad is very disadvantaged, maybe a top 5 is a more realistic points hole for me in this race. But yeah, you know me, we're always going for it nonetheless. And now, for the 3rd time in the race, we have another fucking safety car. And this was just really frustrating me because this is now 3 safety cars. We lose essentially almost a third of the entire race behind Burt Mylander. And again, we set ourselves up to have the advantage in long runs, and we just don't get any long runs happen. I think I put in the chat of the stream at one point, like, wow, I'd really love to get some fucking green flag running sometime this month. And again, this causes another little bit of an issue for us because if people haven't pit yet, you know, they get essentially a free pit stop on some fresh medium tires for the end of the race. We're even just outside of the window to be able to take softs to the end of the race. Yeah, it's just frustrating to have this many safety cars in a race. And it's not the game's fault. We have safety cars set to regular. It's, like I said, not the game's fault, not even the track's fault for its design. It's just people are just being way more aggressive than they should be. You know, I understand wanting to go for it and all that, but you know, there's a time and place, and if it's a non-contact sport, so you shouldn't be putting yourself in positions to have contact, have all these incidents. You see it, you know. I'm only one of the 20 cars that started this race, and look how many incidents I've seen or gained positions from already. You know, it's just everywhere. So at this point, I'm really just hoping to not get involved in one of those many incidents, and also try to keep myself clean of penalties. You didn't see it here, but at one point I did get my second warning. Easier said than done to not get warnings when you're playing Canada on pad. But yeah, really don't want to get that 3-second time penalty. It's just a constant juggle that you have as a league racer, especially when you're like in Division 1 of a multi-tier league, where you can't just go slow around the corners to make sure you don't get a penalty, because then, well, you'll be slow and get passed. But at the same time, if you're too aggressive, you'll lose 3 seconds. And that 3 seconds matters a lot more when you have multiple safety cars, because if it was green flag running since like lap 10 or so, then the field's going to be more spread. But with a later safety car like this, with only, what will be, probably about 10 laps to go, 10 or 11 laps to go when we go green again, the gap of the field is going to be a lot less from first to 10th or whatever. So that 3 seconds is going to make all the more difference. So that's why I always also focus on not just racing my own race, but racing a clean race. Not just in terms of damage and incidents, but also in terms of the penalty sheet as well. Like I said, a lot of times it's easier said than done, but it is still something you want to err on the side of caution of when possible. Again, now we are preparing to go racing again. We will be restarting in P8 here in the race. Still on the same medium tires. Unlucky there, the field kind of slowed down right as the leaders had launched. But hey, like I said, the last time something like that happened, at least I don't have a car right up my chuff behind me. Have a little bit of clean air here. And that's, you know, that's fine by me to have a clean restart and not be fighting someone absolutely immediately. Very okay with that. So it looks like we're going to have about 11 or 12 laps to go of hopefully green flag running from here to the end. And I know some people from peeking at the stream, some people ahead have penalties. So I'm confident that we can still get some positions even from here between now and the end of the race. I mean, even right now, while it's not a great finish for us. Yes, hi Phoebe, that's my deodorant. Adventurous kid in the background. Give some entertainment to the folks. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I know that P8 is still technically moving forward from where we started the race, but I was still looking for better than P8 to say the very least. We can continue to advance forward in the laps. I go deep on the braking here because I had a Ferrari coming up right behind me. I didn't really notice too much with the errors how quickly he was coming up behind me. Yeah, he's been slowly gaining. He has fresher tires than us from the last safety car, so that's inconvenient. And yeah, we're going to have to deal with a car behind as well, which is frustrating because, like I said, I still want to be moving forward in this race, not backwards. I don't have a great wall of champion chicane. The Ferrari behind me is on wheel, so he easily has a good wall of champion chicane because he can change direction quickly. And yeah, frustratingly enough, we lose the position, but he is basically out of ERS, so maybe we'll have a chance to be able to get him back towards the end of the race. But with his fresher tires, I know that he's going to clear away moving forward through this field. So hopefully that either, like I was saying, either causes incidents so we get free positions or leaves openings for us to also make overtakes and follow him through the field. And we are now on lap 28, coming down the back stretch. It looks like he's going to be making a move on the car ahead, heading into the World Championship chicane. Very sketchy. And we have our fourth safety car of the race. And yeah, at this point I was getting extremely pissed off. It might have actually been this safety car where I said, can we get some fucking green flag running this month? You know, it's just so frustrating. This is the top tier of a 5-tier league. And it's just been incident city. And like I said, this isn't on the game for throwing a caution at everything like it's NASCAR. This is just people being way too fucking aggressive. And there's just so many incidents. You know, this just shouldn't be happening at this level. Yet how often it happens at this level, it's just really frustrating to see. And this has really messed with our race all day because, like I said, we've always been set up to be better on longer runs, but we haven't had the opportunity to do it even once so far this entire race. So at the end of the 4th safety car, we are still on our same medium tires, still in P8, no free positions gained during the restart. I actually like that the leader did this here because I was anticipating it, so the field is more bunched on the restart, more of an opportunity for me to gain positions, but more of an opportunity for the car behind me to battle me. So the guy behind is on fresher mediums than me because he benefited from the safety cars, so fuck us, I guess. And yeah, we're going to lose another position, back down into P9. I'm going to act like I'm going to go on the inside there, decide against it, you know, erring on the side of caution. I know, rare thing for someone to do in this race. But yeah, you can just see concertina effects everywhere, pretty much every corner, people holding each other up. We see a little bit of an opportunity to maybe make a move here, but we also have, I believe that was an Alpine right behind us getting close. The two cars are going to go side by side here. They touch each other. They go up against the wall. I barely miss them. Whew! Close one there. An incident right in front of us. And like I said, people just being way too aggressive. We got another incident right in front of us. And just like that, we gained 3 positions. Just by avoiding contact. You know, it's the little things in life I love. The only bad thing is it did hold us up a little bit, so the cars ahead have broken away a little bit, and a couple of them up there do have penalties. I get absolutely punted through the chicane, which is extremely frustrating. So now we lose even more time to the car ahead, and after punting us, the guy just passes us, which is even more frustrating. You know, he hits us with the old bump and run technique. And yeah, this just it just adds to the frustration of this race where literally I've been so conservative around other drivers, always respecting the space, not closing the door on anyone, not burning all my ERS to defend one little position, just always playing the long game. And no matter how hard I try to avoid incidents, I still get absolutely punted through the fucking chicane. And as we advance even further forward, nothing has changed. Lap 34, 35, we're still on those same old medium tires, which would have been really great if there wasn't 4 safety cars. And ahead, another incident ahead of us. The Aston Martin and Williams get into it. And that's 2 more free positions for us, so that's convenient. And yeah, now we see our teammate there ahead of us. He's still in the race. And yeah, this has been a wild one, just incidents everywhere. Our teammate ahead does not have penalties, but the cars ahead of him do. We are up now in the P5, which is right where I was hoping I would finish. You know, I said top 5 finish. And yeah, things have really turned around in this race. This whole race has been both really frustrating and also really eventful. We've made so many passes in this race, and 0 of them were like an on-track raw pace overtake. Every single overtake I made was either A, a car with damage, or B, a car in an incident. And this isn't the first time I've had a race like this. So anyone watching this, just goes to show. Just race your own race. Go as quick as you can go. Don't focus on everyone else. Just let everyone else get involved in the fucking chaos around you, and you can have really good league races, even when you are on a track that's pad disadvantaged and you play like shit, to be honest. You know, I did not play great all day. We're going to come across the line. Cars ahead had penalties, so we are going to get P4 in this race. And from probably having, I would say, like 7th or 8th in pace on track in this race, in terms of raw pace potential, and constantly getting disadvantaged by safety cars and stuff, you know, you can't complain about that at all. The only frustrating thing is I was only 2/10 behind second, my teammate, and I don't think I would have passed my teammate, but only 2/10 behind the third there as well. And I definitely lost more than 2/10 getting punted through that chicane. So that is frustrating that, you know, I basically should have. But with all the incidents around me, to still have been in the race and not involved in the incidents as much as other people were, yeah, again, I'm really happy with how I've been playing since this, in the F122 season, in races. I'm always making good decisions in the races, and I'm always moving forward from where I qualified, unless if I get taken out on straightaways, which we don't talk about anymore. But yeah, P4 in this race, overall, it still just felt sour and frustrating afterwards because there's just so many safety cars. But P4 on Canada, terrible pad track. And like I always say, I know I never have the raw pace here because, you know, it's Canada on pad, but I always seem to get a decent result here. This is actually the worst result I've gotten in league racing in this track in a really long time. You know, usually I've won or got second a lot of the times just by races like this where everyone just gets involved in shit. Canada just always seems to breed crazy races, so it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those races on the calendar where you always just know that shit's about to hit the fan. So yeah, we get the good result here, 4th place. Can't complain too much about it, especially with the high quality of drivers in this grid. Next week though, we go to Britain, my least favorite track to league race in the entire game because it's nothing but Slipstream City, because the track is so fucking easy that my daughter could do it and I don't have a daughter, and also it's just a bunch of straightaways. But hey, we're still gonna go all out and try to get another good result. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.